So Rudy Giuliani, it was in New York the other day. There was some protests. We saw this here. Johnny, if you want to show the clip real quick.
Rudy! Fuck you, Rudy! You were the Rudy, you piece of shit! Fuck you, Rudy! Rudy, you piece of shit! Fuck you! Fuck you, Rudy! You piece of fucking shit! Fuck you, Rudy! Fuck you, Rudy! You were the Rudy, you piece of shit!
All right.
And what does it say over there? Protesters heckle Rudy Giuliani, riding as a part of the Trump caravan in New York after he was caught attempting to have sex with who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. I don't know about that. We have the Borat clip here, and we can take a look at that. Can we not look at that, Johnny? How far can we go on this one? All right, go.
I'm so sorry. That's horrible.
Sit. Okay.
I'm so sorry for that. Really, apologize.
Apology accepted. No problem.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you again for giving me this time. Shall we have a drink in the bedroom?
What happened? There you go, my dear.
Okay.
Yeah, you can be good. You can give me your phone number and your address.
Should we slip your jacket?
Okay.
Put down your crumb.
Whoop.
She's 15. She's too old for you.
Why are you dressed like
She's
this?
my daughter. Please, take me instead. Take my anus.
I don't want you.
No, take my anus. Do not have her.
I'm better than him.
No, I better. My back pussy very tight.
No, please, my front
Please, I will let you enjoy my crumb in your mouth. No, I better.
Okay, I would love to
I was
marry
in
you.
prison many years, so I have techniques with my mouth.
What's going on here? Look at this guy.
I forbid this union. Rudy, Trump will be disappointed. You are leaving hotel without golden shower.
Without
my
golden
God.
shower.
Oh my God.
So, there's been a upstir of that's been going on right now.
Well, can we clarify something real
Go ahead,
quick?
go ahead.
Okay, so they said, I don't know why people are saying that, but the whole thing that happened was she was a journalist and he thought he was getting with this journalist. The whole thing about her being 15 years old was after the fact. So he didn't go in there knowing she was 15 years old. I mean, I just want to make sure that we're accurate here because
she's 27.
She's 20. She's a 27-year-old girl,
yeah.
but she was a journalist, and like he didn't think she was 15 years old. That's what Borat came in saying after the fact. But again, the Democratic media has framed it that way, and it's just, I'm not trying to defend Giuliani, but I'm just trying to make sure we're accurate here about these things. I don't like Giuliani. I really can't stand him.
I have never liked Giuliani.
I know you don't like him.
I got so much shit from my Italian family. Like, why are you going so hard on Giuliani? Because I'm like, Giuliani's a piece of crap.
He is.
And literally, we're going to show at the very end when I fell in love with Ron Paul was because he was just going after Giuliani. It was at the 2008 election. Giuliani had tried to position himself as the foreign policy expert because he already was the mayor of New York, right, of New York City. He dealt with 9/11, so he tried to position himself as the foreign policy expert. And there were so many single times when he played to that nationalist bullshit. How dare you say anything bad about America, why they attacked us? That's insidious. Why would you ever do that? Him and Ron Paul went back and forth. Ron Paul disassembled him in the 2008 primaries within the media and whatnot. And when we came out of this thing, it showed very much that Ron Paul understood about foreign policy. And he was the only non-interventionist on that stage. He got teamed up by McCain, Newt Gingrich, Giuliani. But he single-handedly took down Giuliani's momentum. Giuliani had a lot of momentum from when he was the mayor of New York. But why they are doing this right now, it's the same tactic that they use. The right does this tactic as well as the left. Now, we've seen the left do it a lot more with the people they're trying to put forth, like Joe Biden. You kill the messenger. Right. You destroy the messenger. That's the whole thing. He's bringing forth a lot of information right now. He went and got the laptop. He went over to Ukraine. Don't get me wrong. I've never liked Giuliani, but that's the whole message. Now we got to destroy him, denigrate him. So anytime this information comes out about Joe Biden, it's either Rudy Giuliani and the Russians. Now, John Oliver he debunks the Hunter Biden conspiracy with epic debunk on Rudy Giuliani. So, fam, you put up I think it was a Facebook or a tweet or something. You said, listen, Giuliani can still be a piece of crap, and the information on Hunter Biden can still be true, right? So
Absolutely.
you can see the tactic in the title here. In the title, what's going on. Now, there's a little video down there, Johnny, from 2:07 to 2:32 is where I'd like to play it. What? Now it's unavailable? When did that happen? You got to be fucking kidding me. He was there yesterday.
Well, they took it down.
Okay, well, anyways, they go into it again, and it was pretty much a clip where John Oliver goes over, he's going over Rudy Giuliani. He talks about the Borat situation, frames Giuliani as a scumbag. And then also he's pandering Russian disinformation.
Right.
Once again.
And by the way, don't for a second think that Hollywood isn't involved in politics. They are so involved. I forget which operation it was. But it was on these declassified documents how Hollywood is basically like the propaganda machine for the CIA and the military-industrial complex. I mean, it doesn't take you very long to realize that, especially if you are in the industry. You're like, wait a minute, like Russians are always evil. Americans are always saving the day. They start with the foreign policy on that. Middle Eastern people are always terrorists, and they put their little jabs in there. Borat, it's a pretty political the movies are really political, so obviously they're going to have their own narrative, but at the end of the day, we know that the media, Hollywood, etc., are working in tandem to really protect the status quo. And who represents the status quo? Well, Joe Biden represents the status quo for sure. I think Trump is part of the status quo, but he is less easy to control for them, so they really don't like how volatile he can be, how mercurial he can be. So this is what's going on right now, is that they're trying to frame this as conspiracy when it is fact. Especially with the censorship, this is really dangerous, because if we talk about this, then it's going to get taken down. And the fact is, Pasta, regardless of the Giuliani and the tapes and all of that, at the very least, the Burisma thing is extremely real, and we've been talking about that for a long time before even the Republicans threw it out there.
I mean, they were waiting on it. There were certain outlets that were talking about it. I think it was John Solomon from The Hill went over and reported about it. We looked at all the legs on it. The money lines are there. And now it appears like all the money lines are there from China. But I don't think it's the big story, because Matt Taibbi pointed it out. But this was from that Zero Hedge. It says, Twitter nukes alleged Hunter Biden sex tape after letting Borat Giuliani sex scene trend. So that's the whole thing. And then we know this. I'm not going to go into this article, but you saw Jack Dorsey had to apologize. The New York Post article, they kept on taking it down. You couldn't link it. You couldn't link it. You couldn't link it. Same thing what goes on. They're censoring it out, and then they're trying to put this out here. Look at Giuliani. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of crap. So they're putting forth one piece of information and holding back the other. And that's where we get really dangerous here. Matt Taibbi put it here. He goes, censorship is the biggest story now. That's what comes out of this, ladies and gentlemen. It's not what Hunter Biden did. It's not what happened at Burisma. It's not what happened with Giuliani. It's not what happened with Donald Trump. It's not happened with anything. It's now as we've entered a level of censorship with the powers that be, because I don't even know what to call them anymore nowadays, big tech, can sit there and they decide what you can hear and what you can't hear. And it's money lines connected all to it, you know what I'm saying? Who's zooming who's greasing who. But the fact that they can put forth some information that they want you to see a lot of, let it trend while holding other information back. We've said this before, fam. It's not up for big valleys, for big tech. Simi Valley. Thank you so much. It's not Simi
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
Oh
my Brooklyn tongue. It's not up for Silicon Valley to decide what you can and what you can't hear and what you think is the truth and what's not the truth. If they're not inciting death, if they're not inciting violence, then it's up to you to judge what is right and what's wrong, not them. And this has been very, very dangerous. Matt Taibbi kind of put it up. That's the whole story. Go there, take a look at that article. It is pretty cool, because we're in some scary times right now. And yeah.
Are we still on?
That one. Right? Well, I have this last piece right here and stuff real quick. I just wanted to put up. That's Taibbi's article. Rudy versus Ron. Now, I just want to show you.
Congressman Paul, I believe you are.
Yeah, you can play this a little bit here, Johnny. This is when I couldn't stand Rudy Giuliani, and I just want to go into the clap. And just so you can see the methods that Rudy Giuliani is, this like nationalist kind of method of like, oh, those are the evil guys. We had to do this, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Ron was getting on him so hard that along the lines of the primary, he had to go back and kind of pinpoint, this is Giuliani. Well, no, this is just a small group of people who are doing this, whatnot. He had to backtrack on his comments. But just play a little bit real quick, and when we go to the clap, then we'll kill it and stuff like that. Because it gives you a little taste about what Ron Paul was up against. You know what I'm saying? And then the Republican Party.
And also that Giuliani has always been a warmonger, POS. And like, this isn't about protecting Giuliani, but the fact is the censorship is wrong on both sides.
9/11 attack, sir?
What changed?
The non-interventionist policies.
No, non-intervention was a major contributing factor. Have you ever read about the reasons they attacked us?
They attack us because we've been over there. We've been bombing Iraq for 10 years. We've been in the Middle East. I think Reagan was right. We don't understand the irrationality of Middle Eastern politics. So right now we're building an embassy in Iraq that's bigger than the Vatican. We're building 14 permanent bases. What would we say here if China was doing this in our country or in the Gulf of Mexico? We would be objecting. We need to look at what we do from the perspective of what would happen if somebody else did it to us.
Are you suggesting we invited the 9/11 attack, sir?
I'm suggesting that we listen to the people who attacked us and the reason they did it. And they are delighted that we're over there because Osama bin Laden has said, I am glad you're over on our sand because we can target you so much easier. They have already now, since that time, have killed 3,400 of our men, and I don't think it was necessary.
Wendell, may I make a comment on that? That's really an extraordinary statement. It's an extraordinary statement as someone who lived through the attack of September 11, that we invited the attack because we were attacking Iraq. I don't think I've ever heard that before, and I've heard some pretty absurd explanations for September 11.
But this is why I couldn't stand Giuliani right here. Can you imagine me? This is a young pasta screaming and cursing at the screen because I was trying to figure out so badly, like, how come they did attack us? What was going on? Who are these people? I started studying about the bin Ladens. I started looking about the Mujahideen, whatnot. And it was like, okay, this is what Ron Paul is doing. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. In 2008, in this particular debates, they had a text-in voting on who won the debates. Ron Paul won every single one of the text-in voting. So for me, it was like, oh, there's young libertarian, young Republicans out there who are non-interventionists for the future. That's great. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of young Republicans out there that we can meet eye to eye on when it comes to our foreign policy. But Giuliani played that part, that warmonger part. He got those nationalist kind of, claps and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And that's when I couldn't stand Giuliani back then. So really, to tell you the truth, I kind of just want to point it out to show you the roots of me personally, being an Italian boy from New York. Totally against Giuliani. I loved Cuomo. I loved his, the daddy Cuomo. Can't stand his two sons. They're just ridiculous. But I haven't liked him for a long time. But regardless, that's not important here. What's important is the fact that you're trying to smear Giuliani to suppress the information that he has brought to the United States as far as that laptop and everything's concerned.
And then, of course, what you said, the censorship,
yeah.
that we're being censored for, that they're censoring one side. They're censoring the side that puts Joe Biden and his son in a bind, but they're allowing all the other things to float around, and they're trying to say it's conspiracy theory and tying it to Russia. That is extremely dangerous, no matter how you feel about these politicians, because that is the issue. Because now it's like anything you say against their protected establishment, you are a Russian asset, etc. Tulsi Gabbard said this a while ago. She said, if they can do this to me, they can do it to anybody, and that's why this is extremely important.